This is a meeting about the decentralized directory that Regen Tulum is putting together so that everyone has a really comprehensive resource to find all things regeneration in Tulum. Why are we doing this? Well, Tulum's ecosystem is being destroyed and the regeneration movement is fragmented. So there's not really the capability of a movement of regenerators to come support Tulum in the way that it needs to be supported. We are creating this directory to deal with a number of the different issues that regenerative projects face. They're disconnected, they need resources, they need exposure, and also tourists and locals, they don't really know how to effectively help the situation here. We see the regenerative directory, the decentralized directory, as a primary way that we can really support both the projects and the tourists and locals. Regen Tulum is a digital nation. It's a nation that's not organized by geographic boundaries, but more so by a common purpose to prevent Tulum from experiencing ecological collapse. There's three main initiatives besides us coming together as a digital nation that constitute Regen Tulum. One is the decentralized directory that we're going to be talking more about today. And you can think of it as Yelp for regeneration in Tulum. Also, we're doing decentralized public works. This is the notion of the community coming together and deciding what projects that the community wants to see happen. Part of that is giving them our time in volunteering to help them do these projects, but perhaps more importantly, bringing financing and expert advice and support to these projects as well. We're creating a community currency that is going to not only circulate money within the local community, but it will also enable us to value things like the ecosystems that aren't traditionally valued. We're going to create this currency so that it can, through network effects, enable us to create a fund for regenerative projects that, once again, will be voted on by the community in the decentralized public works. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Veronica Anderson. She is the principal at Sanadora, a consulting firm, as well as the founder of Homebase.
Thank you so much, David, for that introduction. And thank you all for being here today to learn a little bit about this regenerative directory and Regen Tulum. So today I'll be sharing about HomeDash, which is an application that is being created by Sanadora, the design studio that I lead. And it's been such an honor to collaborate with the whole community here at Regen Tulum. And today I'm going to talk about how we are gamifying regeneration. So just before I get to that, this is me. I am Veronica. That's a little picture of me in my most early stages of being a nerd and loving all things research and data. I grew up in the United States, in New England and Connecticut, and I studied at Temple University and Philly U in Philadelphia. And I then went on to move to Costa Rica around 2016, and I had this beautiful experience of deepening into community that was actually devoted to making the world a better place. And I lived there for 4 years. I opened my own business, which was a regenerative tourism company, and I was practicing planning and architecture. But I became called to Tulum, and so that's where I've been for the last chunk of time working with Regen Tulum. And I'm going to share a little bit more about where I come from. just so you know who I am and why we're all here, really. So biomimicry is something that I am deeply inspired by and motivated by, and that's the practice of designing in accordance with natural law. So on the screen are some examples of ways that collective consciousness shows up in the natural world. And as a human species, we don't always think of ourselves as animals, but when we look to the natural kingdom, there's a lot of wisdom for how we can collaborate. And so this shift in thinking is what I refer to as human nature healing. Healing the way that we relate to the earth, the way that we relate to nature is a big part of all of the work that I do. So you can see ants here building a bridge together, and mycelial networks sharing information and resources. You can see fish acting in a collective consciousness to protect one another against sharks. You can see birds swooping in a flock and creating these truly incomprehensible acts of unification. And there's the bee, which is an incredible totem that teaches us how to be efficient with our resources. The bees build in honeycombs, which are shaped like hexagons, because that's a shape that uses less wax than a square or rectangle, but holds 30% more nectar. So this is a way that our world can be inspired by nature, and that's what I'm here to do. I have done a lot of projects around activism, and this is one that was my first in 2013 in Lima, Peru, which was the least sustainable city in Latin America at the time. So this is another city like Tulum that has problems with water management, and there is a real threat of drought and not having access to water. People often, many millions of people, 4 million actually, live in slums that don't have water piped to their homes, much less sewage or clean drinking water. So I created a solution using architecture as a catalyst for sustainability. And this is when I started to understand the power of mapping. And that's something I'd really love to share more about with you today, and to really share about how we can visualize our built environment as a more natural system, an ecosystem. A lot of times we think of cities as dead spaces or places that make us sick, and that's true. But they're also very complex systems that can be worked with in a sense to create more harmony. So this is, again, the work that I did in Peru, where we were looking at the global economy, the way that we were using materials from the entire country and the costs that that had on the environment and the climate, the way that transportation and infrastructure affected the way that people live together. And a tool that I've developed for using, for communicating the way that we can work together, for facilitating communication, and for creating more alignment between these different complex systems is very simple. It's a map. So these are some applications that allow us to map the built environment and to create a more regenerative environment and to work with nature. There's a link here that you can go to, geodesign.app, if you want to experience what it's like to interact with a map and to look at data in a way that is engaging and responsive versus statistics, like a list where it's just sort of dead and you scroll and then you click and that's all you can do with the data. So what we want to do with this directory is to create a way for people to engage with the regeneration of Tulum. And that is something that I have come to believe is truly possible through the work that I did in Costa Rica. This is a project that was an integral climate park that I did at the University for Peace. I worked with the Earth Charter and the municipality of this small city, which is actually about the same size as Tulum in terms of inhabitants. There's 30,000 people in this small city, similar to the size of Tulum right now. And what we did is we created a participatory regenerative development process. So this is something that we could do here in Tulum, and this directory is the first step towards that. And ultimately, this project didn't happen, and you might be asking why. That was something that we asked ourselves as well. It was truly a collaborative process. All the stakeholders were really excited about it. We were protecting the last dry forest in the Central Valley of Costa Rica, and this was a project that very much needed to happen. It was supported by the indigenous community, by the city municipality, by the locals who lived around the university, and everybody was committed to seeing this project happen. But the $200 million that we needed in order to make it happen were unavailable to us. And so the project went into the filing cabinet and didn't move forward. So this is a problem that a lot of communities are facing now, especially communities in development or most of Latin America. So this is a project that the problem that I'm really devoted to solving, and that's why I've come here today to collaborate with Regen Tulum and to work on this decentralized directory, because this difficulty accessing capital in the developing world doesn't have to be the case. There's lots of funds available to us. There's billions of dollars and millions created every single day for projects like the ones that Tulum very much needs. There is very little incentivization for private businesses to innovate. That is the single largest factor in our ability to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. So this is something that we really want to achieve. We want to incentivize private organizations to innovate, to become more regenerative and sustainable. But there's a lack of communication about how to actually do that, about the grassroots initiatives that are actually happening. And public agencies like municipalities and national governments are using outdated technologies. They don't even know how to use GIS, Geographic Information Systems, to create a communication platform for their initiatives. There's disconnection and a lack of awareness about what's actually going on in the community or how to do better. If you arrive to Tulum as a tourist, like I was just a couple months ago, it can be hard to actually find the stores where you can purchase organic food or support a business that is truly innovative. And that is all due to this disconnection, this competition that exists between different people that are and organizations that are truly committed to the very same thing. There's an overconsumption and a distrust that exists in our community of people that are truly desiring to see a more sustainable world. And these are things that we can solve through Home Dash. So this is a project that I've been working on since 2016. Home Dash is a planetary regeneration system. It's an application that gamifies sustainable development at the global scale. And we're piloting here in Tulum, and that's something we're really excited about. Home Dash is a unified whole systems map of planet Earth, which helps us to see the heartbeat of Mother Earth. We are using Home Dash to measure the regeneration of planetary systems, to motivate positive, peaceful action through gamification, and mobilizing a global network of people for peace. So this is a planetary operating system for regenerators and solutionaries, supporting bold action and deep listening. This is a multidisciplinary tool which allows stakeholders, experts, and students and businesses from all different sectors to come to one place to collaborate. It's your one-stop shop for sustainability investing, for learning about what kinds of solutions exist in the world for our toughest challenges and our greatest crises. Because our crisis is a birth. It is the impulse of evolution toward a planetary awakening. And this is something that visionaries have known for a long time, like Barbara Marx Hubbard. And Home Dash has been designed based on decades of research and design science, like that pioneered by Buckminster Fuller and his World Peace Game, to be a tool for co-creation. And I'm going to show you some examples now so that you can truly understand what we're talking about here. The first one is a global leader in sustainable development. Our friend Karuna is a leader at Water Now. And this is the Kopal Tulum Hotel. And I want to show you where it's located, because if you were to look at all the hotels in Tulum, this one wouldn't stand out. When you're looking at this map here, you might not even notice this blue dot in the middle. But it's blue because it's an example of the way that water can be regeneratively treated, collected, and distributed throughout a hotel so that it does not create more waste. So this is obviously a place that someone would want to stay if they came to Tulum and wanted to know that they were not contributing to the problem. But how would they find this example, this exemplary hotel that is truly committed to being responsible with their water and with the resources that are so limited and precious that we all share? It would be hard for them to find this if they didn't know what to look for. So the application of Home Dash would give you this global picture of projects that are committed to responsible use of resources. And this is just an example. If you were somebody that really cared about water, then you would see this map. But if you're somebody that really cared about food, you would see a different map. If you're somebody that really cared about clean air and transportation, that would be a different map. So seeing all these different layers is one of the things that we're moving towards with the decentralized directory. In a more local context, I want to show you this example of Puntos Limpios Tulum. So our friends at Red Tulum Sostenible have amazing projects like the Puntos Limpios. So these are recycling stations. If you don't know about their work, please check them out. They're doing amazing things for the community of Tulum, creating these recycling stations. But you might be in Tulum and not know that these exist. So, or how to find them. So the decentralized directory is designed to give priority to important solutions like the Puntos Limpios. It's a project that we very much want to see more of. Right now, there are 7 different places that you can go to recycle your waste in Tulum. And this is an example of some of the data that we are going to be entering into the directory and aligning with all of the other incredible projects that Red Tulum Sostenible is doing and all of the other partners that exist in our community. So we're just getting started, but these are examples that I have to share with you today. And moving on, I want to share also about the benefits of this decentralized directory, which Regen Tulum is creating. It has the power to elevate grassroots activism and to empower businesses doing well to do more, to be more creative. It unifies our approach to regenerative development and centralizes in a decentralized way the projects that are doing right by Tulum. It also helps visitors and locals to vote with their purchases. So if you are passing through Tulum and you want to know that you have left a positive mark on this town, then you would be able to use the directory to identify positive actions that you could take, whether it's making a good purchase at a store or a restaurant or where you would stay in a hotel. It also focuses on solutions. So the directory will be a place to list your volunteer opportunities and solutions like composting and recycling. The directory increases empathy and engagement by showing the world just how strong of a presence the regenerative community is in Tulum. And being able to update the database in real time means that it's always changing. And as the database grows, as the directory becomes more popular, it also encourages transparency and accountability. We can put pressure on businesses that are not yet participating in the regeneration movement to take charge of their impact. We can also promote established projects for investment using the directory, and it facilitates communication and collaboration between all of the different stakeholders who are fighting to make Tulum a sustainable and regenerative place. So in conclusion, these benefits are many, but if you can visualize just how easy it would be to live a life that leaves a positive impact on Tulum using this directory, then you'll understand how important it is that we start to bring all of this information into one place. And we hope that you'll be able to enjoy in the very near future this possibility of your one-stop shop for regenerative tours, restaurants, hotels, shops, and volunteer opportunities, as well as all the other categories. So I'm going to share with you how you can join the directory. You can apply to have your own project included or nominate someone else for their project. We're still working out the details for how you can be compensated for this action, but there is a pool of tokens which will be reserved for activities that support the launch of the token, including helping to build the directory. You can get credit for adding your business or for organizing the directory itself and for nominating others to be in the directory if they decide to join. So we're going to go to the website and I'll show you how you can start earning your share. So here we are on our beautiful website. There's a lot of information here, but we're going to scroll down the page to how you can join our digital nation. So if you want to just join the movement, you're welcome to do that. You can click here on the join button and you can earn exclusive rewards that way. You also have the opportunity to recommend an organization, a business, or a project, and we'll reach out to them to become a part of the directory, and you will earn a reward if they decide to become part of the directory. Here's what the form looks like. It's very simple for you to nominate. All you have to do is put in your email so we can get in touch with you if they decide to join. And we'll let the nominee know it was you if you give us your name. Give us the name of the nominee, tell us why you've nominated them. Let us know how we should contact them, and we'll have a volunteer from our team reach out to them directly so that they'll apply to be included in our directory. And then you submit. Very simple. Going back to our website here, if you have a project that you want to be included in the directory, all you need to do is click the apply button, and you'll be able to receive a reward in Tulum Coin, which is our community currency. So when you click apply, it'll take you to another form. And I'm just going to walk through this with you here as an example of how we can get you the rewards for participating here. So we'll just ask you to enter your name and your email. And then you click next and it'll take you to the overview of your project. So let's enter the name here. We're going to put Regen Tulum as our project. And it's going to ask you to paste a link to the project location on Google Maps. So the way to do this is to open up Maps on Google. And if your project is an existing business or organization, it'll be very simple to add your project. You'll just click on the little icon as it is in Google Maps, the way that you would share it normally, and then just click share and copy link. If your project is not listed on Google Maps, here's how you can fulfill this requirement. So you'll zoom in on the map to the location of your project or the park that you clean up or the different initiative, name your initiative here. And you'll right click, go to what's here, or you can simply, if you're on your phone, press and hold. But if you're on a computer, you go to what's here. And then when you click on what pops up, it'll create a point. So again, if you're on a phone, all you need to do is long press on the map. If you're on a computer, you need to do a little bit extra. And then you go to share and copy link. In this case, it's very easy to create a point that's not already listed in the directory. So in this case, I've created a point at the intersection of Calle 12 and Calle 7. And so you can see it's not currently listed on the map, but I can still click share and copy this link and now paste it in the directory. You'll want to upload an image related to the project. This is not a required step, but obviously if you want your project to stand out, that will be a good idea. You'll choose which sectors your project relates to. It might be more than one. That's okay. It could also just be one. We'll choose a category for the project. And this is how we're going to display the different options that our community offers for supporting regeneration. And you can select just one of these. If you select other, please include a description in the answer here. If you are a project that is part of a larger organization, then you'll click yes. So for example, if you wanted to list one of the puntos limpios, you would say, yes, we have several separate locations. And then you would write here, Red Tulum Sostenible. If it's your only project, then you just click no. And then we go on to the final page of the form. This is where you write your description. Let us know what makes your project something regenerative. What sets it apart? Why should people support this project? People can go to your website or your social media to focus on basic details, but really let us know what are the regenerative aspects. And you can include a link later down in the following sections. In the tags category, you want to create a list of words and short phrases which describe your project and separate them by commas so that people can search the database for yoga or sculpture or beach cleanup. Next, if your project has specific needs, let us know as a list here. If you need volunteers, if you need a transportation, anything that your organization or project could use in order to thrive, please list it here. Later, if you have a different email address that people can use to contact your organization, it might be info at whatever, put that here. You might have a business number where you want people to call and ask for more information. You're going to have to make sure that it's a valid phone number without any symbols in it. So don't put those hyphens or spaces. And then you're going to put in a URL or a link for your project. And that's it. Once you've submitted, you do have the option to come back later and edit your response. So you're able to continue to work on your directory submission at any time. And you can also submit another response here. So friends, that brings us to the end of our presentation today. We hope that you will get involved and join us at regentoloom.com. If anybody who's here with us live has any questions, please either drop them in the chat box or click the raise hand option so that we can unmute you and have your question included. And thank you so much for your kind attention. And if any of my team wants to cover something that I missed, please let me know.
Let me just jump in here. You may be wondering why we're calling it a decentralized directory. Well, the reason is it's not one group putting this directory together. It's you and you and you and you. It's all of us coming together as a community to create this directory and getting rewarded for doing so. So that's why we call it decentralized directory.
So well said. Beautiful. Thank you. I think Francis has a question. Go ahead and unmute yourself, love.
Hey, awesome presentation, loving, and thank you again, guys, for doing this. It's going amazing, super inspirational. Question on the, because I had noticed before on the group chat, I guess you had one for businesses and one for projects. Is that still happening yet? Or is there's going to be two separate directories?
We're going to include businesses and projects as part of the very same directory,
okay,
so that it's easy for everybody to find all things related to regeneration in Tulum.
Okay, so it's going to be, it's essentially the same one is the same one. So if you're, and I think I asked in the group chat before, so if your business is not necessarily Tulum, like for example, I'll give you my perfect idea. My office is in Miami, but I'm doing projects in Tulum, Dominican Republic, Costa Rica. Right now, I'm working on a number of initiatives. How do you work around something like that? Or do you just only point out the specific physical location of where the projects that you're working on in that place are? I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Can you tell us more about what your business is? Why
Yes,
you would like it to be included in the Regen Tulum directory?
Okay, so I think I gave a little bit on the presentation before. I'm with Regenerative Built Environment Institute. And so what we do is we work with developers, municipalities, individuals that are looking to raise green finance for their projects. And they're regenerative projects or sustainable projects. They have to meet certain sustainability standards. So at the moment, we're actually working on a couple of potential initiatives in Tulum. I can tell you that I had sent before the Citizens Agenda for Sustainable Development in Tulum, and there were a couple of different projects that came up that we're currently in the process of evaluating and seeing if there's a possibility that we can actually raise green finance for that. That's one of the aspects, one of the things that I do. My main business is general real estate, and part of my goal is to give back a portion of my commissions to Regen Tulum, charities, art. There's a number of different initiatives that I have for basically just initiatives with clients that would, part of my funding would be going back to organizations such as this one, as can also be artists, et cetera, et cetera. So one is real estate and the other one is the projects that I'm doing with Regenerative Built Environment Institute. We have a collaborative of sustainable and regenerative practitioners throughout Latin America and the Caribbean that we're already working with on multiple real estate developments, primarily that we're pushing to be built in a regenerative and sustainable manner. So it's sort of more international. That's why I wanted to find out how that would fit in.
That's a great question, Francis. Thank you so much for bringing that. And we love
Thank
that you're doing all of that amazing work here in Tulum, for sure. Want to support that.
Thank you.
I can imagine that you might want to put points on the map where your real estate opportunities are that you might want to draw people's attention to. That's one way that you could use a
Could be.
location.
Okay.
Another opportunity is just to select any location in Tulum that's meaningful to your work and include that as the location. If you're not formally grounded somewhere, it would still be a way for people to see that you're a part of the Tulum community and find out more
Okay.
about your work. And folks are welcome at any time to reach out to us for support, figuring out how to add their project to the directory. This is something that we're happy to answer questions about at any time. You can always contact us via the website. Yes, this meeting will also be translated into Spanish. We're still working on our bilingual nature, and we have a Spanish version of the form in the works, and we'll be creating a Spanish language version of this instructional video as well. So I'll hand it over to David to lead us out if there aren't any more questions, and thank you so much, everyone.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us today, and for those of you who are tuning into this video. We're really excited about this decentralized directory that's going to be put together by us, the community of people who care about regeneration in Tulum. We're growing that community, and through initiatives like the directory, like the community currency, like the decentralized public works, we're going to create both people power and economic power that will enable us to push for more regenerative projects in Tulum. So thanks everybody. Once again, please visit the website to join our digital nation, as well as nominate or recommend regenerative projects in Tulum, and to list your regenerative projects.